So, about the update, I'm very conflicted about it. On one hand, I think it's good, but on the other hand, there are some things that I just don't agree with. Let's talk about the nerfs first. Before I begin, I want to say that I'm sorry about the upload schedule. My files kept getting corrupted, so it took me a while to get this video out. Now let's get into the nerfs. As a Kitsune main, I think that the Kitsune nerf was too much. Since I was a Kitsune main, I'll be a little biased, but I do agree that Kitsune needed a nerf. While I agree, it should have gotten nerfed. The way they did it was too much in my opinion. Before you start to throw tomatoes at me, let me explain. Kitsune was overpowered. Don't get me wrong, but it should be overpowered. It's rare and hard to get. Just because it's been in the game for years doesn't mean every player can get it easily. It's still really hard to get, and if you want it permanently, it's 4,000 Robux. If you wanted the Crimson variant, it costs 6,000 Robux. I personally think that for the price it should be overpowered. Now, while I agree it should be overpowered, it shouldn't have stayed the way it was before the balance update, I still do think that the nerf was needed, especially for the Crimson variant. I was checking the Blox Fruits Discord server to see what people thought a few hours after the update, and well, it was mixed. Some people liked it and some people hated it. I looked at the suggestions and one person said, "The Kitsune nerf is way too much. I like the idea of buffing underused fruits to shake up the meta, but nerfing what's supposed to be the third rarest fruit to the point where it's barely viable in PvP is too much. On both the normal Kitsune and its Empyrean mutations, the X move is now unusable for combos. Anyone with more than 2 brain cells can escape them, and the animation locks you from using any other ability. The C move also has way too much end lag, making it far easier to punish. And don't even get me started on the Z. Removing its ability to break Ken Haki is absurd. I understand lowering the damage, but the nerf was excessive. It now does around 4,500 damage only if every hit lands while fully charged, and only about 800 without charging. For context, I have 11 million bounty, so I'm already getting the bounty damage buffs, and that's still the damage I'm doing against players with 2.5 million bounty or higher. The move isn't worth using anymore because it leaves you completely vulnerable while charging, and you'll almost never land the full attack in a real PvP fight because of the knockback. The issue isn't that Kitsune got nerfed, it's that almost every part of its PvP kit got nerfed at once. Damage, utility, combo potential, recovery, and end lag were all hit in a single update. High-risk moves should have high rewards, but Z now has all the risk with very little reward. I agree Kitsune deserved a nerf, but after these changes it doesn't feel like it has a clear strength anymore. I main Empyrean Kitsune. It helped me get to 11 mil, and as a mobile player, it is hard for me to compete with the PC player because of lag and just the mechanics, and now with nerfing the mutation, which is supposed to have the strongest move in Blox Fruits, doesn't seem all that powerful anymore. Buffing weaker fruits is great for the meta, but completely gutting one of the rarest fruits isn't the right way to do it. If we are gonna nerf anything, nerf Dragon Form. I completely agree with this person. Kitsune didn't need a huge nerf. I'm not saying that Kitsune isn't usable, but it's a far cry from what it originally was. As I said before, Kitsune being a hard-to-obtain fruit means it should be overpowered. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to revert it, but at least rework the nerfs. This person said that they were using Crimson Kitsune. If you didn't know, Crimson Kitsune is worth a lot physical, or $60 if you want it permanently. If he ate it or bought it, it's crazy how Crimson Kitsune is way worse than most fruits like Portal, Rumble, and others. Another suggestion was this one my friend made, and it brought up some valid arguments in my opinion. She says, rework the Kitsune nerf, not revert it. I know. Before you complain, I want to explain. Why would you make Kitsune unplayable? It's the third rarest fruit and it doesn't feel like it. People who bought it permanently are getting ripped off, and it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. This especially goes for the people who bought Crimson Kitsune, which was way more expensive. I understand Kitsune was brain dead and it definitely needed a nerf, but completely gutting it is insane. The Crimson Kitsune Z move isn't even useful anymore, and it realistically can't be used in PvP. I definitely don't want Kitsune to be reverted back to how it was before the nerf, but I want it reworked. The end lag on the C move is even more insane. You can't do a combo with that. This also goes for the X move. If you have more than 2 brain cells, you can easily escape that combo. The people who say Kitsune is a spam fruit are just trying to appeal to the masses. You can't spam in this game. The game has cooldowns. An example of no cooldowns is the Lightning F move, where you can spam it for 4 times. If you're talking about just spamming the next move, then by that logic, every fruit is a spam fruit. My main point is, Kitsune doesn't even feel like it's worth the amount it costs. If you are going to keep Kitsune like this, then make it less expensive. Obviously, it's going to be more OP than other fruits if you make it the third most expensive fruit. I completely agree, you can't spam in this game. I have no idea where people got that idea in the first place. You can't spam in a game with cooldowns. An example of spamming is the Lightning F move, which you can use repeatedly 4 times, then it has a cooldown. The movement glitches, I'm glad they're gone. I know I made a whole tutorial for them, but it's because everyone was using them and it made it unfair for the people who didn't know how to use them. I didn't really like movement glitches because once people got low, they immediately used that glitch to run. Although most people could use them, console players had a hard time using them. This made it completely unfair for the console players who wanted to PvP but couldn't. Not to mention I've already found 8 ways to bypass it, so the devs aren't really doing a great job on fixing the issue. Another thing I'm glad that the devs patched is that you can't use a flash step then follow it up instantly with a combo. It's crazy to think that it's allowed in the game. People who use macros are actually really bad at the game. In my opinion, they should be banned. Doing a combo so fast that a human couldn't even replicate it is crazy. I really do think that the devs did a great job, but you can still fling yourself with Sanguine, and that's OP, especially for macro users. I'm not going to complain that much because most of the methods I'm talking about are really gate-kept, and it's no surprise that the devs don't know about them. Another reason I don't like movement glitches is because PC players are the ones who mainly do it. This makes it unfair for the mobile and console players who have a harder time to do it. In my opinion, they shouldn't have nerfed Yama. It was fine the way it was. I'm not talking about ragdolling. I'm talking about the actual move. The X move was fine the way it is. You actually had to be near your enemy to hit the move. You couldn't hit it from afar. You actually had to be close to your enemy. Another nerf I don't agree with is the skull guitar nerf. The X move didn't need a nerf. It was fine the way it was. I don't understand why they'd make the hotboxes smaller. I don't think anyone wanted it nerfed. The buffs. Where do I even begin? Why does gas need a buff? It's so overpowered. And why did they decide to buff the transformation moves? I really don't understand what the devs were thinking when they buffed the gas fruit. Gas was already overpowered before, but buffing it even more is crazy. Now, who thought it was a good idea to give players aim assists? This is so overpowered, especially if you use Dragonstorm. Pair this up with Eagle, and you have the most brain-dead build. I'm not one who plays skilled, but some people that do told me that it completely ruins the skilled aspect of the game. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. A lot of players quit the game because of not just this, but the rest of the update. This goes for meta and skilled users. Some skilled users have even turned to using the new meta builds after the update. And honestly, this is just sad to see. They were doing the best they could, but thanks to aim assist, it's almost impossible to play skilled. They didn't even fix the movement bugs at all. If you were paying attention to my gameplay in this 3 vs 1, I'm still using the movement glitch after the nerf. The way you do it, by instead of holding out your gun or sword like you normally would, just hold out a fruit instead. It's far more effective. The only reason that this update isn't completely trash is because of the bug fixes, some nerfs, and how they removed AHK. So yeah, in conclusion, this update was 80% bad, 20% somewhat good. My next video will probably be an update movement guide or something similar. Anyways, before I go, make sure to like, subscribe, and join my Discord server since I'm hosting giveaways. Goodbye!